Healthy leadership standards in spiritual communities are a matter of public interest. My goal is to spark constructive reform and protect current and future members of OTO. Everything in this video is my opinion, based on first-hand observations, public statements, and written records I possess. Viewers should evaluate the evidence for themselves. When people hear about instability or toxic behavior inside a spiritual community, they often picture one unhinged individual, some loose cannon who needs to be removed. But what if the problem isn't really the person? What if it's how the system responds to the behavior? In this video, I want to talk about emotionally unstable, threatening behavior that I have personally witnessed or heard about in OTO, not as isolated incidents, but as symptoms of a deeper pattern. A pattern that doesn't just emerge, but is created, protected, even rewarded. In the context of a high control group, emotional instability does not always manifest as yelling or breakdowns. Sometimes it's much subtler and much more dangerous. Leaders framing feedback as betrayal, weaponized gossip disguised as concern, meltdowns reframed as passion, while calm critiques are treated as threats. Threats, sometimes subtle, sometimes overt, being downplayed as misunderstandings. Emotional outbursts followed by rapid advancement. Over time, this creates a culture where the more unstable a person is, the more protected they become, because people are afraid of what they might do. What follows are some of the patterns of behavior that I've witnessed over my 11 years in OTO. The examples are abstracted from behaviors I have witnessed, heard about, or have documentary evidence of. I have changed certain details and withheld names to protect individuals still on the inside and to keep the focus on the system. However, I would be willing to share my voluminous documentary evidence with a responsible journalist. Pattern 1, protection of rage. The evidence I have seen has led me to believe that OTO excuses aggression from insiders. I have seen and heard of incidents where someone can scream, threaten, and even physically intimidate others, and it's treated as a personal conflict or emotional processing. Imagine a situation where a person threatens to harm a single person or a group of people in anger. You might expect leadership to step in to remove that person from membership or to hold them accountable in some way. Instead, imagine the person is only temporarily restricted and then they're reintegrated. Or imagine a situation where a person with a reputation for extreme instability and substance problems is given power over other individuals. Imagine credible concerns about their dangerous behavior get dismissed as personal problems that the order doesn't get involved in. Or imagine a situation where it is acceptable to threaten critics with unspecified disciplinary measures, withholding advancement, or even physical or mortal harm. I have witnessed or heard about incidents which, in my opinion, are like this. And in my files, I have incident reports and screenshots which, in my opinion, fit this pattern. And if you're in OTO now, you yourself may have seen things like this. Pattern 2, emotional fusion over boundaries. I have seen and heard of multiple incidents where it seems to me that OTO expects leaders and rank and file members to accommodate emotional dysregulation and dysfunction. Situations where if you try to set any kind of personal boundaries, you are accused of being cold, unkind, or divisive. Imagine a situation where a member tries to create some personal distance between themselves and the explosive and unstable behavior of another member. I'm speaking of a personal boundary here, not something that directly impacts ritual work. You would expect others to just say, okay, or nothing at all. But imagine instead that the person asserting the boundary is ostracized, frozen out, or whispered about. Or imagine they receive texts, phone calls, emails for weeks, even months on end, pressuring them to make things right. If you have experienced something like this in OTO, you are definitely not alone. If you refused to give in, it doesn't mean that you're cold or mean. It just means that you care about yourself. And if you did give in, it doesn't mean that you're weak. It is extremely hard to resist. Pattern 3, fragile egos in positions of power. When emotionally immature people are elevated to high positions, they often conflate disagreement with disloyalty. Critique becomes attack. Silence becomes threat. And they begin to treat leadership like a fortress they have to defend. I have seen and heard of incidents in OTO that, in my opinion, fit this pattern. Imagine meetings where personal vendettas are thinly disguised as policy discussions. Imagine workshops led by leaders with a reputation for defensiveness or even heated outbursts. Imagine attending meetings where entire segments are devoted to mocking former members who dared to speak out. Imagine terms like psychosis or grifter tossed around to provoke laughter or disgust. Imagine this being done by the top leaders of an organization. I have personally witnessed behaviors like these, or I have heard about them from others. And if you've been in OTO long enough, there's a good chance that you have as well. Pattern 4, gossip as governance. When official channels are broken, rumors take their place. I have witnessed and heard about incidents in OTO where it seems as though leadership decisions were made, not through policy, but through back-channel whispers. Who's in alignment? Who's not trustworthy? Who's creating drama? Imagine false information harmful to a person's reputation spread so carelessly by the top leaders of an organization that it's actually repeated by people not even in the organization. Imagine your social media posts, maybe having nothing to do at all with OTO, being studied and discussed by people you don't even know, or read aloud by senior leaders for the purposes of reputational sabotage. Imagine an organization where leadership conversations can drift into petty gossip disguised as sharing wisdom. What would that organization be like to be a member of? And would it surprise you to find out that its rank and file members mimic the same behavior? It's kind of a running joke in OTO that there's so much drama. It's treated as a glitch in the system or just the cost of doing business. People are the same everywhere, I've been told. But when the highest ranking officers in an organization act in ways that appear unstable, emotionally manipulative, or vindictive, it creates a culture where cruelty is leadership, where ego is policy, and where the more reactive you are, the more people fall in line just to stay safe. All of this points to one simple truth. Emotionally unstable behavior does not just appear in a vacuum. It's shaped by a system that rewards enmeshment, protects insiders, and punishes the telling of truth. The more someone is willing to erupt, melt down, or retaliate, the more people walk on eggshells around them, and the more power they're given. Meanwhile, those who bring calm, clarity, and normal boundaries are pushed out. So over time, the system selects for volatility. It becomes a feedback loop. And it doesn't just harm the people inside, it reshapes the meaning of leadership and of trust. You don't need a stereotypical cult leader or constant threats of physical violence for a system to become abusive. Sometimes all it takes is institutional cowardice, a refusal to hold people accountable, and a system that rewards those who play the game. If you ever felt like you were the only one who saw these patterns, or the only one who couldn't stomach it anymore, you're not alone, and you're not crazy. Leaving a system like this is not an act of failure. It's an act of fidelity to truth, to courage, and to your own clarity. And if you're still inside, I hope you'll start asking better questions, not just about who is being silenced, but why.